Well, we're here at the CCA workbench, and we talk about raising techniques every week, Dave. And lobsters, something that you and I don't do every week. But, you know, Jimbo Thomas, he really filled us in.
We got a good tutorial.
Yes, we did.
So let's share it, shall we?
Shall we?
Well, these lobsters, we're chasing spiny lobsters, and spiny lobsters are different from a real lobster because they don't have claws. They're called spiny lobsters because they got those big spines, and that's what they use for the protection. Unfortunately, a lot of times that's their demise too, because when they back into those holes, those spines are sticking out, and when they're sticking out, that means we can see them from above. They're antennae. Yep, we can see them. So we get down there, and you're going to find them around channel edges, big reefs, any kind of ledges.
Heads.
Up where I live, they're under limestone ledges, and so what you got to do is you got to get in there and you got to get them out, and you're not allowed to spear them. So you got to what they call tickling them out, and you use a tickle stick like this one here. This is.
So we're going to take this.
A little metal stick, and you have a net in your other hand. And when the lobster's back inside the hole, you got to reach that stick in there behind him without touching him and start tapping him on his butt. And when you're tapping on his butt, he'll walk out of the hole.
Right.
And when he walks out of the hole, then you put the net down. And
then you hit him in the face.
Right. You put the net behind him, and you hit him in the face, and he jumps right into the net.
Right here.
Because they like to, they go backwards really well. So that's the key. So that's what you need to do to catch them. And we actually have the largest commercial fishery in Florida is for lobster. They do like $20 million worth, 6 million pounds of lobsters come out of here.
We're gonna need
you need to have a pair of gloves, a tickle stick, a net, and a gauge. You have to have a gauge because the lobsters have to be 3 inches from the start of the tail to the eyeballs, the carapace, they call it, the hard part of his head.
That's not right.
It's not?
No, according to my man over there, he's shaking his head. That ain't right. But he'll clear that up for us later.
Yes, he will. You just got to put that gauge on. You got to have the gauge. Let's put it there.
You got to have the gauge. And you have to measure the lobster. I almost said the fish.
Right.
You can tell we're really out of water here.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to measure him in the water, guys.
Right.
Because guess what? When you possess them and they're in the boat or they're in your net.
You can't wait to put them in the boat. Right. They have to be landed whole. It means you can't break them in half and put all the tails in the boat. You have to have a lobster stamp and a saltwater fishing license.
Right.
You can't land a lobster that has eggs on it. If you look underneath and she's full of eggs, you got to let the females go with the eggs. You can't catch them in traps recreationally. Only a commercial guy can use a trap. And you can't share bag limits. You're only allowed 6 per day in most places, 12 all the way through Florida. But in the Keys and some parts of down here in the South, you only get 6. So you can't have 10 people on the boat and have 4 people fishing, and you keep 60 lobsters because you got 10 people. That means you can't share.
The other thing guys do is they do it at nighttime.
Right.
The lobsters come out of the ledges.
They crawl at night. They start moving at night. About 2 hours after the sundown, they start moving. And then once they're out there moving, the guys will use a thing called a bully net.
Right.
And when they're out there, and a bully net is like it's a net like this, but the net comes out here, so it's got the
90-degree hoop.
Yeah, a hoop like this. So you got lights in the water, and as you're going over those flats, you'll see one down in there, and you'll just drop that net on top of it. And if you drop the pole end towards his face, he'll back right up into the net.
Right.
So that's a really good way to do it. A lot of guys catch a lot of them at night doing that, and it's probably a lot more comfortable. You're not. It's at nighttime, so it's cooler, and it's still very effective because they're all moving at night.
It's more fun.
I would say I'd like to do both ways.
Everything at night's more fun.
I imagine.
All right.
Gotta say, that was pretty informative for 2 fish out of water over there. Good job, guys.
Well, it's just been a long time since we've been there.
It's okay.